Hi, this is Karen. Welcome to another Card Making Tuesday at dolallycrafts. You'll notice this card looks very similar to last week's card, which was that one. As I said last week, when I finished this, I wasn't sure that I really liked it and I'd had an idea to step it up. So this is what the stepped up card looks like. May not look like much, but from the side you can see this bit's been elevated with dimensionals, and so has the rose, and the leaves have actually been given a bit more dimension. Instead of curling them, which will flatten in the male, they've actually got dimensionals behind the two top leaves, and the sentiment's been stepped up. And I've used 3 different coloured Share What You Love pearls. We've got the mint macaron, I think that's calypso coral, but I'm not sure, and petal pink. So we're keeping all 3 of the colours there, and I even decorated the inside. But I wondered why my cardstock was cracking. Then I realised I was using thin cardstock for the card base instead of thick cardstock. So I had to start the video again because I still had the thin cardstock. Now I have a thick cardstock base. There's a difference, a real difference in the 2 cardstocks. When you use the thin cardstock to make a base, it will crack. The thick cardstock stands up to more, so it won't. Okay, so all the measurements can be found on my blog. I'm using a half sheet of International A4. So if you're in America, take off 3/4 of an inch from the length of your cardstock, and that will bring you down to your 11 inches. Everything else can sort of stay the same. Okay, you will need a couple of pieces of spare cardstock, one for your flower and one for your sentiment. And for your leaves. I've already done the leaves, only in the interest of time management. Now I've also cut these 2 pieces out. They're only very lightly adhered at the moment. I just put a little bit of snail on, took most of the tack off. It's just to hold them together while I run them through the trimmer. So I'll just move those aside and I will bring in my trimmer. Okay, now that's the open side, so I know this is the end that I need to trim. So what I'm going to do is, like last week, line this point up with the 3/4 of an inch or 2 centimetres on this side, and do the same over here. So line it up with the 2 centimetre mark or 3/4 of an inch and trim. And that gives us a bit of a diagonal there. Now I'm now going to line this corner up with the 2 centimetre or 3/4 of an inch side, and this is just, the point is just this side of the track. So we'll get a nice point at the end there. Not that it matters because it will be covered with the rose. So don't be too worried if it's not a perfect point, because nobody's going to see it, but you will know it's there. Okay, and I shouldn't have put my trimmer aside because though they start out the same size, I want to trim 1/8 of an inch off, or a 1/4 of a centimetre. And what I'm doing, I don't know whether you can see that, this is the track that fits into the Stampin trimmer, and it happens to be 1/8 of an inch wide on either side of the well that's in the middle. So I'm lining my paper up with the line there. That's why you can still see some of the track. And just trim it. That will give me enough of a border on here to look really, really nice. Okay, my Stampin trimmer is leaving a bit of a ridge on the paper, so I'm just smoothing that down. There we go. Okay, now I will come in with my snail. Snail's okay to use if you're putting paper to paper or paper to cardstock. It adheres really nicely. However, if you're doing cardstock to cardstock, you're better off using either your tear and tape or glue, wet glue. Okay, So smooth that down, and there's our flap. Now I'm going to bring in my card base again, and I'm going to bring in my scoring tool. And I'm going to line up my card base in portrait mode on my scoring tool, and I'm going to run down, I'm going to flip it over, I'm going to run down from the inside at every 1/2 inch just to the fold. And I'm actually pressing quite hard so that I get a nice impression on the front of the card. So every 1/2 inch. If you can hear noises in the background, I have not just Maisie, but also one of the cats down here. So they're playing chasey up and down the hall. Okay. So, I don't know whether you can see that, but that's really nicely embossed on the front of the card now. So we're going to bring our layer piece back in, and some Stampin' Dimensionals. And I'm going to put 6 Stampin' Dimensionals, 1 in each corner, 1 at the point, and 1 at the halfway mark at the top. And there we go. So give them each a press down, and then take the, and I normally wouldn't take the backing off the 2 centre pieces, because they're plainly there just for support. However, because I've embossed the front, I'm actually going to need, just to be on the safe side, the extra adherence there. Maisie's whining at the moment because the cat's disappeared behind some boxes under my desk with some retired stock in it. So she's upset because she can't get to him at the moment. They've been playing. Okay, now I've flipped the card upside down so that the fold is on my table so that I can get that lined up now nice and neat. And there we go. That's most of the front of the card done. Pop that aside, and I'm going to bring in my stamp positioner, which I have set up. Now, I don't know whether anybody noticed last week. I'll just take this out. But I've actually got 2 marks on each of the flowers, as you can see. And that is so that I know where the points are to match up. So I know the point's there, the point's there, and the point's there. And so it doesn't get confused with this one over here, I've actually put a second mark, and I just did that with black pen, but with the black pen that I used, which is just one of these Kilometrico or Bics, it's a Bic, it actually transfers onto your stamp blocks and onto your stamp positioner. So use a Sharpie if you're going to do that. I should have done that, but I couldn't find my Sharpie. Okay, enough of waffling. We will bring in our piece of cardstock, and I'm going to line that up like so, and just put a couple of magnets on, and then bring in my, oh look, if you could see my desk at the moment. Okay, bring in my ink pad, and I'm going to do the outline of the rose, give it a good press, and I'm going to double stamp it, but I only put a little bit of ink on at a time. Okay, so that's the first one done. Now I'm going to be a bit different. I'm going to move this over here this time and line it up. Just check. Sorry, I'm going to have to lift it up. Right, I need to bring it down just a smidge. I'm just going to check it again. After doing all of this fiddling around, it'll probably turn out really bad anyway with my luck, because I haven't got my reading glasses on. And I really, really need to have them. Okay, that's really good now. So I'm going to stamp this full strength. Actually, that's turned out really nice. Now I'm going to bring this down, give it a turn again, and I'm meeting this with this. Pop that, and I'm just going to bring that over and check. Might just bring it over slightly. I need to do this because I'm not using the same size paper as I did before. Okay, going to pop some on. Ink that piece up, bring in a scrap and stamp off. Give it a huff and then a really good press. Beautiful. That is probably one of the best impressions I've done so far. So I'm really happy with that. I will be back in a moment. I'm going to go and quickly cut it out on my big shot. I will be back in a moment. Okay, we're back, and I now have my rose cut out and I have my leaves. So I'm going to flip that over and I'm going to pop and see which way I want it up. Yeah, like that. Okay, so flip it over. This is going to be the top, so I'm going to put 2 up the top there, and I'm just going to put 1, double 1 down the bottom, and I'm just going to put another 1 here for stability in the centre. Take that off. Okay, take the backing off these. And then just in the middle like that, pop them all down. Now I'm going to bring in my leaves and I'm going to pop a dimensional just in the centre of the 2 top leaves and bring in my Tombow and just put a dot of glue on the base of each of those leaves. Get rid of Maisie's hair off it, and I'm going to bring that in, and I forgot to take the backing off. Okay, take the backing off there. There we go. That's 1. Take the backing off this one before I try and place it, and slide that under there. Give that a press down. Now those leaves should all stick now. Okay, get rid of those. Now we're going to come in with the last scrap of paper here, and I'm going to stamp hello, and I'm doing that in mint macaron. Like so. And then I'm just going to trim that with my scissors. Like so. And then I'm going to come in with, I forgot to mention the colour I'm using there is terracotta tile. So I'm going to come in and I'm just going to cover the edge of this, and you'll notice I'm doing it from the back and I'm actually using the side of the marker. So I'm just colouring the edge, and it's just to give it a little bit of definition once it's got the dimensionals on. So dimensional there and dimensional there. Okay, now where's my paper snips so that my fingers are out the way. I'm trying to get a fairly even border around the bottom there. Okay, now the centre of this card I used full strength terracotta tile to give some definition to the centre of the flower. However, this time I'm going to stamp it off because the full strength came across too dark for my taste. So there we go, just a smattering in the middle. And then I've just come in with, once again, if I can find them, they're on my desk somewhere, my Share What You Love. They've gone missing. Oh no! Come back, Mummy loves you. There they are. Any closer and they would have bitten me. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the darkest of the pearls down the bottom here. Then one of the lighter ones here. And for a bit of contrast, one of the mint macaron ones up there. We're going to open the card up. And inside I stamped Blessed in mint macaron. Oh, Maisie, what is wrong? Has Murphy gone missing? There we go. Blessed in the mint macaron. And then To Be Your Friend in the petal pink. And just for an extra bit of decoration, I'm going to bring in a scrap and just got to reposition my stamp. Back in with the mint macaron. Stamp off, stamp on, stamp off, stamp on, stamp off, stamp on. And then just come in with one of the fill-in stamps. Doesn't have to be perfect inside, it's more of a watercoloured look. And that is our card complete. Move all of these out the way so they don't distract. Okay, so there's the sample card for today, and there's the card that I've done with you, and there's the card from last week. So as you can see, you can get a lot of different looks just with one stamp set. I even don't mind the ribbon on this one now. I still think there was too much white space there, and the white space there has been filled in with our hello. But yeah, I hope you like the last 2 weeks' cards, and if you have this stamp set, you'll give it a go. If you don't, the stamp set and the die set are available in my online store. The link's below. Yep, that's it from me for this week. Don't forget, I'll have another Throwback Thursday on Thursday this week, and there'll be another card video on Sunday. That's all from me. I will see you later. Bye-bye.